So first, now I already talked to Charlie. He called me on it, but I just want to acknowledge, Robert, that I had said that I would be in communication with each one of you over the last week, when I was away, and I didn't do that. And I didn't communicate with anybody that I wasn't going to do that. And so I wanted to acknowledge that and apologize to you, because it really was a promise. So, I mean, it was a broken promise and an out of integrity. So I just want to restore that. And I want you to have the opportunity to say anything about that might be there for you.
I got nothing around it.
Yeah. I kind of thought you might not, because it was just like a free day for you. But really, 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 I just got to, I play with it, but I want to just be that it's fucking off. I mean, it's just off that I would do that. Now, I was in an area where I had no reception, but, even with that said, there were a couple things I had to do. I can't remember what they were. And I spent an hour or more finding someplace I could have reception. So I could have called and said, listen, I'm in limited reception. I'm not going to be calling you, whatever. I should have indicated.
You know why actually I got nothing around it? Because we had talked on Friday.
Well, that's true. We had our regular talk on
Friday. Yeah. So it didn't hit me like
I was missing.
Yeah, like we didn't have a call. So
I didn't have a conversation with Larry. I didn't have a conversation with Charlie, and I didn't have any conversation with Rasha. Just so you know, Charlie, Robert and I have a regular coaching call on Fridays. And we have for several years now, right, Robert? I mean, it's been, 3 years?
Yeah.
Working together?
Yeah.
That's why he's so awesome.
Makes sense to me.
Oh, wait. Oh, hold on. I got something in my eye here.
You're evil. You're evil. Okay, so I wanted to generate again this William, however you say his last name, having thoughts versus real thinking. I find for myself that my first thought is never my best. My first thought is always someone else's semicolon. Oh, I used Dragon Naturally when I recorded this, you guys. Do you know Dragon Naturally?
No.
It's where you talk and it types for you.
Oh,
wow.
So that was supposed to have a semicolon, but it typed semicolon instead.
Oh, is that pretty good?
It's really good. It's really good.
I'm sorry. Dragon what?
Dragon Naturally.
Okay.
Okay. My first thought is always someone else's. It's always what I've already heard about the subject, always the conventional wisdom. It's only by concentrating, sticking to the question and being patient, letting all the parts of my identity come into play, that I arrive at an original idea. By giving my brain a chance to make associations, draw connections, and take me by surprise. And often, even that idea doesn't turn out to be very good. I need time to think about it, to make mistakes and recognize them, to make false starts and correct them, to outlast my impulses, to defeat my desire to declare the job done and move on to the next thing. So I think this is just a brilliant conversation to have in the background as we are creating something that we really have no idea what it's going to look like, you know? And so thank you for that. And now tonight, my intention is that we deepen the distinctions, and I want you to make them your own as though you designed them personally. And I was going to have each one of you, well, I am going to have each one of you to distinguish what's on the list, but you know, I guess Larry and Rasha were scared to death, so they didn't show up. So we're going to do that work without them. And there's nothing in this, by the way, like to try to, there's nothing about this like that should be right. You understand? With this thing that William said that we're using in the background, you're going to generate it however you generate it. And I will correct the distinctions where they need to be and flesh them out where we can. Okay?
Yeah.
So Rasha was to distinguish feeling habit and counterfeit love. What I think we'll do is we'll skip on down to Charlie, me, then Robert, and together we'll flesh out Rasha and Larry's part.
Okay.
Are you in agreement with that?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, good. So Charlie, do you mind
No.
kicking us off?
No.
Thank you.
Okay. So quantum love. If we define love as the experience or feeling of aliveness, the word quantum with love would imply immense inclusion. Possibly, we may also have the experience of rising above or transcending, which would be correlate to the degree we are open.
Say that again.
Possibly, we may also have the experience of rising above or transcending, which would be correlate to the degree we are open. Quantum love could be and would be uplifting and empowering.
Mm-hmm.
It would include all.
Mm-hmm. Very nice.
Open-hearted. Do you want me to go ahead? Do you want to talk about that first?
No, beautiful job. Go right on into open-hearted.
Open-hearted refers to the practice of letting go to our attachment of how we think life should be or show up for us.
Yes.
It's giving up our resistance to how life is and to accept how life unfolds and presents itself to us.
Yeah.
And that allows good things as well as bad and events to unfold in our lives naturally, letting go, and giving up all our resistance.
Yeah, very good. How do you feel about verses it allows for good things and it allows for bad things? How would you feel about saying first, it allows for everything? Some you might label good and some you might label bad.
I'm totally aligned with that. I thought that sounded awkward.
Didn't sound awkward at all. You know what it sounded like? It sounded like the first few cuts that we created over time.
Oh.
And I just think this takes that cut a little deeper. Because I can remember saying things like that, Charlie. I can remember saying, it includes good things and it includes bad things. It includes neutral things. You know, I can remember saying things like that. But I think a better presentation might be, it includes everything. Some you might label good. And some you might label bad, but those are simply labels.
Yes.
Beautiful. Thanks, Charlie. Really good job. Very good job. So mine is letting go and the small self. So first, I'd like to say that I read something from Joe Dispenza that I liked. And I think we might take it on. I want to get your all's feel for it. But, you know, this distinction that we call small self, he refers to as the limited self and the greater self. How do you all feel about that? The greater self being what we call the higher self or the quantum self, and then the limited self being the same thing that we call the small self. Any opinion?
I'm always, you know, it's the same thing that I think we've had discussions about this. It's hard to get away from better, worse. And I think anything then can get rid of that and it's naturally built into us as human beings that, right, greater self, limited self. And I remember there was one time when you said, you know, we need to be adept. I don't know if you said adept, but in both realms. And so I think anything that can kind of start to level out that language field is great. And that does a little bit.
Yeah, it does a little bit. Yeah, agreed. So in our world, the limited self, the small self, is simply the identity or the character that we've taken on. If you consider that this greater self, the quantum self, is who you really are, and it puts on a costume, that costume would be this small self, because it's ego, it's the character, it's the identity.
Yeah.
Is it who you really are? Well, no, but who you really are uses it to get expressed and experience life as a reality.
Yeah, move through the world.
Move through the world as we know the world is for now.
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead, Charlie.
I think I really like the idea of a limited self. Small self kind of has a little bit of a negative connotation to it. And limited self, I think, actually describes it better because it brings limits.
Yeah.
It does have limits. What, you know, another thing is, what if it was the timeline self?
Ooh.
Right?
Ooh.
Yeah.
And what would the other self be? The quantum self.
The quantum self and the timeline self, yeah.
I like that. I like it. The only thing, here's how I envision it, you guys. I envision it as we start the day talking about this small self, identity, character, ego. Then midday, we transform it into what we're going to call the limited self and the greater self. And then we end the day with, this is your timeline. It's almost like the timeline is and I may not do that. Now that I've said it all, I don't like it anymore. But the timeline self I really like, because if you can see the timeline as like a game board, and the timeline self is our piece on the board.
Yeah, you know what? It's almost
and
like
the quantum self is that which is playing the game.
And it's the timeline self. It's like biology, right? Like we're gonna die, and your quantum self is that which won't die.
Quantum self is playing the game, and the timeline self is the piece through which it plays.
Yeah.
The timeline self will disappear, die. The quantum self doesn't die. Oh, I like that. Do you like that, Charlie?
I'm still thinking about it.
All right, you let yourself percolate. It's fine. I'm going to keep talking if that's okay, unless there's something you want to say.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
So, not to get off course, but the small self, would that include the inner child?
Well, think of it this way. The small self / limited self includes all the parts of a personality. And in every personality, we do say that there's an inner child.
Okay, good enough.
So yes, it does.
And okay, I'm clear on that.
Yeah.
And then the quantum self that doesn't die, somehow I have that associated with universal energy.
Yeah, it is. Now, here's what I'm suggesting. I am suggesting that it is universal energy, like it is the ocean versus the wave.
Right.
But the ocean includes the waves.
Yes.
I'm suggesting that the quantum self has an element to it that is Charlie. even though it is the whole. I don't know how that fits. I don't know how true that is. I'm just suggesting that it's so.
So your analogy about the ocean, including the wave.
Yeah.
A wave, waves come in and they all look similar, but they're all different.
Yeah, I think that's good. I like that wave because you are an individual wave within not the individual. I mean, I think that's actually a good analogy.
I do too.
Perfect. Good. I like it too. I really do. And if you all can tell, over the course of our working together, all the distinctions have matured.
Yeah, sure.
Have you noticed that, Charlie?
Say that again. I was distracted.
All the distinctions have matured.
Yes.
When we first took a cut at them, they were junior cuts. Now we're taking senior cuts.
They're fleshed out.
Whole different listening than what it was.
Yeah.
It's going to be magic when we're working with the group of people.
Mm.
And I intend this weekend, by the way, to send out their pre-work and their playbook. I haven't quite decided what the playbook's going to look like just yet, but I intend to send that out this weekend. And each of you, of course, will be copied on that because we're going to have to be in communication with them to make sure the preparation gets done.
Right.
Okay, I have an issue with that.
Yeah.
And my issue is, for some reason, when you send me something, I can't open it. That's all. I want to make sure I get it.
I wonder what I can do differently. I wonder if I put it on our design team page and you look at it. Oh, I wonder if I make a page, a participation page, and I send everybody the link to the page.
Ooh.
Do you make it as a PDF? Can you make a PDF of it?
I probably could. I just don't know. It never.
If you make a PDF, then people actually could print it out for themselves.
I can open that. A PDF I can open, but I don't know what you're sending me, but I can't open them.
I'm sending you Office. It's Word. It's Excel. I don't know why you can't open it.
Yeah, you do that.
Hey, Charlie, are you Mac or a PC?
PC.
And do you have Office?
But listen, he doesn't use Microsoft Office. He uses a generic brand.
I think it's Word document.
Yeah. See, there's
I know that. Send me Word documents. They're not Word. There's something else in my Word has to convert it.
Charlie, try downloading. It's free. It's called OpenOffice.
I'm looking to see.
OpenOffice is an awesome program. It just means it's the architectures.
That's what I got.
Oh, that is what you got?
I got version 3.4 though. Maybe it's an older version.
Let me see what I have version 4.11. You can probably just look for an update.
Okay, I'll try that.
And I will work on doing a link and or a PDF. I will do that, Charlie.
Okay.
Keeping you in mind. Okay,
thank you.
Very good. Yeah, thank you. So my other, so that's the small self conversation, and now the letting go conversation. Letting go, there's a fine line between this thing I call letting go and actual resistance. And it's very easy to have those collapse. Many times if I talk to a client about letting go of resistance, their brain can't see letting go versus resistance, because for many cases to let go means to push away. Letting go in the conversation that we're creating is distinct from resistance. You aren't pushing anything away. You are, in fact, allowing whatever is to be, and you're letting go of your attachment to how you think it should be. That's letting go. It's kind of like, there's a way I think it should be, And if who I am is it shouldn't be, that's resistance.
Yes.
Versus there's a way that it is, and who I am is it is that way. The practice of honoring life unfolding. So letting go, that's the reason why we do the physical exercise of letting go, is because it's only when you can get it physically that you can start to translate it into emotions and general feelings, etc. In fact, you guys, for the course, what I've come up with, remember we did the pencil and the pen?
Mhm.
Well, for this course, I'm going to go out and buy, you've seen those long foamy things that they give kids to play with in the pool?
Yeah.
You've seen those? I'm thinking about getting one each of those for everybody. It's very light, very, very, very light. And have them place it on their shoulder and say, okay, now I just want you to hold that. And, you know, I'll time it. We'll say, okay, it's been 30 seconds. Not very heavy, right? And they'll say, right. Keep holding it. I'll come back. Now it's been a minute. How heavy is it? Now it's been 2 minutes. Now, by now, holding that thing up, because you got to balance it. You can't just, it's not going to just sit there on its own. You know, you got to balance.
There's effort there. There's effort there.
There's effort there, yeah. And then I'm going to have them drop it and notice the difference in your physicality when you let go. What do you think of that?
I love it.
This is the pin.
I
Yeah.
love it. The other thing you said that I really tuned into is pushing it away is not letting it go.
No.
Because I could see how people might not see that. So I think that's a great point to include.
And Werner Erhard used to say, whatever you push against, you're stuck to.
Yeah.
I can remember you saying that, yeah.
Or, said another way, persistence causes
Resistance.
No, resistance.
No, the other way.
causes
Flip it.
persistence. Yeah. Resistance causes persistence. Yeah. Very good. Okay, good. That was great. Thank you all for letting me.
Well,
generate
persistence could cause resistance if
that.
you have it.
It could.
It's got to be this way.
But it's not. But that's not how it's written. How it's
I get it.
Yeah.
And I can't remember from. It's a very old statement, and it's used. You know, Landmark used that statement in the generation of the forum, but I don't remember where it comes from.
Yeah.
All right, Robert. The practice. This was perfect. I did this on purpose. The practice of honoring life unfolding in the timeline life.
Yeah. Okay, I don't have it polished like Charlie does.
Well, you just did it differently. That's fine.
Yeah, and so practice of honoring life unfolding, but I did write some things. Main thing that really stuck with me is that honoring is to hold in the highest regard.
Yeah.
And and that, to me, that really is it, because, and it goes well with timeline life versus right now life. Because if I'm honoring life unfolding, I am holding my life that I'm having in this moment in the highest regard. And that means that, so to put it like in, just like right now here stuff, what I've really noticed when I wake up, since we've been doing the design team, and I open my eyes, I will actually go, this is a fucking awesome day. As opposed to waking up and thinking, what do I have to do? Because I would wake up in the game of like doing something, and then I just got to actually get like this. There's no better moment or time than right now. actually, there was a phrase that you said a couple weeks ago. Was and I don't remember what you said about it, but it was like, "What am I waiting for? What am I waiting? What am I waiting for my life to look like before I go? Oh, this is my life.
Mm.
Like this is so wonderful to wake up and I just think, oh, this, right? I'm here again. I can make it up. I'm making it up." And that has a lot to do with like what you and I are working with. And this work is so great for me, the whole idea of like, my feeling habit, right? And because man, have I been bumping up against that motherfucker. Like, right? A lot.
Yeah.
And so that's what I really got about practicing of honoring life unfolding. And it is a practice. It doesn't come naturally.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And
yeah, very good.
Yeah,
very,
and
very
all
good.
the things that we do, like, meditating, well, that gets you in it. You need that. You need access. You need access, integrity accesses to get into the groove, right? Because your feeling habit will just take it apart and just destroy that shit.
Yeah.
Just take you out again.
Very good.
Yeah.
Excellent, boys. Excellent. So,
and then timeline life versus right now life.
yeah.
I love this. So timeline is, what did I write? It's timeline like life has an agenda. It has an agenda to get to. It's stuff that you got to get to and markers that you need to, because it's big chunks of time. Where am I in my 30s? I'm 60. What does that mean? Where am I? Where do I compare to someone else? And so it's all timeline life, like as it unfolds. And my right now life is like waking up in the morning and go, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I heard in what you're saying is you could say the timeline life is a doing life and the right now life is a being life.
Yeah. And the right now life is a way, it's like the right now life actually makes the timeline life, they exist together. Because when you're in the right now, well, it's that whole thing. I wrote it down somewhere and it was a great, let me see if I can find it because it was good.
What I'm hearing in the timeline versus what's the other one?
The right now.
The timeline, it's all comparative.
Oh.
Yeah, it is comparative.
Let me write that down.
Oh, yeah, I love the timeline life. I like it because it says that if you look at the bigger chunks, you get this illusion that you can somehow control the future. It's
almost, yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
and it's like,
yes.
And it's what we've talked about before. It's almost like it is a superstition. It's not real, right?
No, yes, right.
Yeah, it's great.
Yes, beautiful, 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 guys. Beautiful work. Thank you so much for digging in, looking, what have you.
The other thing is, I really liked how Robert opened up about honoring means to hold in high regard.
Yes.
And then mapping that onto our life, our hold in high regard. I really think that I've got disconnected to that.
Yeah, the practice of honoring life unfolding is the practice of having life held in high regard.
Makes sense.
Life as it is.
Right.
Not the life that we think it should be.
Right.
And that is a powerful practice. And if we bring integrity only to that practice, and remember, integrity is only as important as what you're dealing with matters. So we have to make that matter so much that we constantly bring integrity to it. And Charlie, when that guy said to you, so what makes him so enlightened? It was a very interesting thing after we hung up and I got on the airplane. I was kind of like contemplating things. Not like I was trying to come up with an answer to that by any means, but it was there, you know.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know what? What has people show up as enlightened is integrity. The higher levels of integrity that you keep cause you to be able to see deeper into things and people than anything else.
Wow, that makes sense.
Yes, and it is true. It is true. As a coach, when my integrity is out, or as a coach, when integrity is out, my relationship to my coaching is less powerful. When integrity is in, I hear and see things that I wouldn't ordinarily hear or see. And this is available for everybody. It's not special. It's not special. It's like having a well-built body is available for everybody. It's not special. It depends upon how much integrity are you willing to bring to that particular area such that you have it, right?
Yeah.
So, okay. I wish we had everybody here because this, what I'm about to do with you, is a very important part of the course.
Larry's here.
Larry, are you there?
I finally got on. I left St. Helena at 4:30. I got stuck in a detour, and there was zero reception. I just got reception about 15 minutes ago. And
Oh, great. Well, thank you for being on. Are you in a position that you can generate a conversation around quantum forgiveness?
I'm in a position. I'm sitting in my car in a neighborhood in Fairfield.
I mean, that shouldn't matter. I don't mean it that way. What I mean is, did you do the thinking necessary that you could generate the conversation?
I don't know that I could.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think I don't even understand the question completely.
All right. So, every Monday I send out the agenda for the call.
Uh-huh.
And on this agenda, what I said was, we're going to deepen the distinctions so that you can make them your own. And each one of you will have one topic that I'd like for you to be prepared to generate. And yours was quantum forgiveness and the quantum self. That's what we've been doing. I'm not making it wrong or doing anything with it.
Monday, I was in St. Helena up on a mountain with zero reception. So I just left today.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't get a text or anything.
Okay. So everybody, if you would, I'd like for you to allow yourself to get present to time. Just get present to time. It might be your experience of time. It might be how you hope for another moment. It may be looking back in time. Just allow yourself to just get present to time.
Hello, this is Rasha.
Hey, Rasha, glad you were able to jump on.
Hey, Thomas, your mic goes soft and loud.
Mine does?
Yeah.
I wonder if that'll help, because I forget where the microphone is on this piece of shit.
That's better.
That's stronger.
Almost
Yeah,
when you turn to your right, it's strong.
When I turn to the right, it's strong?
That's what I thought, but now it isn't. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Well, I just struggle through it.
No, I'm glad you told me, because I guess when I look up, it probably is better.
That's great right there, yeah.
When I look down, it probably isn't as good.
Yeah, right.
It's weaker, yes.
So, Rasha, what we're doing in this moment is allowing ourselves to just get present to our experience of time. Oh, I just can't believe it. Okay. You guys, son of a bitch. I can't find my notes.
Oh, there you are.
Oh, shit.
Are they digital or physical?
Well, this is what I can't remember because I do notes all over the damn place, but I usually keep them in a folder. Let me just grab my folder and hope I put them in there.
Hi, Rasha.
Hi. Sorry that I'm on and off, you guys.
What you look like is a symbol of a phone.
That might be close to the truth considering these days.
It's attractive.
Seems to be where I spend most.
So Rasha, before you came on, and Larry, I just wanted to acknowledge that I had told you guys that you would hear from me in between our last call and this one. And I didn't do that. And I just want to apologize for not having done that. And versus giving you a lot of excuses for having not done that, is there anything that either of you want to say about it? I do apologize, by the way. Is there any impact on you, anything that we need to get complete?
I'm good. Did you have a good vacation?
Yes. You guys, it really and truly was one of the best long weekends we've ever had. Next to New York. When we did New York, that was number one. This one's in the top three. And Larry, we met a couple. It's not like we met them. Raphael has known them. I never knew them. I've only known of them. And oh my gosh, I want you guys to meet desperately. Oh my gosh. They do bat rescue. Barry and Kathy. You don't know them, do you?
No, I don't know them.
They do bat rescue. They have bat houses hanging all over their property. Oh my gosh.
It's an interesting,
crazy.
A lot of.
It's crazy cool. All right, well, I have lost my mind. And I kind of remember now what I did. I recorded it is what I did, and I never translated it. And I thought, you know how sometimes you do things and it was so profound you think it's going to stick to you?
Right.
Yes.
Well, that's how this time exercise was. And this time exercise I want to use at the end of the day on Saturday is how we'll close the day. Unfortunately, all I can do with you is get present to time. And after that, I'm like, oh my God, there's 3 steps to it. What are the next 2 steps to get present to time? So versus me completely bastardizing the thing, I will listen to the recording and I'll decide whether or not to send you a recording. I'm going to make sure you guys get it because I need your input on it. I'm just so disappointed that I didn't get that ready. You know, I flew home and it was just like, I knew I would remember it and I cannot.
Okay.
Okay, let's try. So everybody just get present to time from your vantage point, just get present to time, any experience of time that you have. what does time feel like? So what does it feel like to you? And I definitely want an answer. Not like a right answer. Just what does it feel like? You have this relationship to time. What does it feel like? What'd you say, Larry?
That there's not enough.
There's not enough. So one way that time feels is that it's scarce. There's not enough of it. I need more of it. What's another way that time feels?
Time feels like pressure.
Like pressure. Like there's something that's got to be done.
Yeah.
And what's got to be done exists inside this timeline life. Very good. What else?
My first thought was burden.
A burden. So it's a pressure, it's a burden, and there's not enough of it. Isn't that interesting? An interesting dichotomy. I want more of it, but it's a burden and a pressure. Amazing. Anybody else? How does time feel?
Like aging.
Like aging. Yeah, something to resist, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's good. I have another one. In the creative mode, time seems, what's the word? It seems, I need a word. I have nothing succinct.
Yeah, but that's okay.
It's non-existent, really.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So stay there. Hang on to that just for a moment.
I have an analogy about time.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's like I'm on a train and all the scenery's going by me. That's how it occurs to me.
Very good. What is the noise? Something like crunching and crackling?
Larry moving his phone.
All right. So now that's how time feels. So your experience of time, and that's how it feels. Now turn it inside out. So there's how does time feel? How do you feel about time?
How do I feel about time?
So Larry said, there's not enough. So I think that more fits the question, how do I feel about time? I feel like there's not enough. And then Robert, for you, well, yeah, they said my creative moments, time feels non-existent.
Yeah.
I may not be doing this exactly right, but that's okay. Stay in the world of it, and then when I listen to my recording, I'll correct anything. But we just get in them. So now, whatever space you're in, let me just speak to it. Time is not real.
I get that.
It's not real. It is not real. In fact, I did some research on time, and one of the things that I uncovered was the beginning of the creation of time. There was no way to measure, and so time became a measurement. It measures what?
It's measuring the sun going across the sky.
And that's all it measures. It measures the sun going around, the earth going around the sun. That's what it measures. It measures movement. So time is simply the measurement of movement. And it is a concept that you and I exist inside of. Can you get that it's a concept?
Yes.
Larry, can you get the concept?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's also, well,
I don't think you get.
That's also
Say it again?
it's in physics. I mean, we're exposed to the sun every 12 hours. So.
Yeah, but time, just like money, is conceptual.
I get that, yeah.
It's all given by agreement, right?
There's an agreement. Yeah, go ahead, Robert.
You see, but what I'm thinking about is like one of the things that someone said about time is aging. I feel time as biology. I'm aging.
Okay, so then if I ask you, how does time feel, or how do you feel about time, that would be the response. I feel like it's aging. I feel like time is aging or growing older.
A race. It's almost a race.
It may feel like a race. It may feel that way, right? It may feel that way. Is it a race?
No.
It's not.
No, it's just right. It just
now, think about this. Does it actually have anything to do with aging?
Yes.
Time just is.
I don't know. I don't think it does.
Well,
Yeah.
I think it does. I mean, everything, time, given a long enough timeline, everything, including rocks, whatever, change over time.
There is change, but we add time. Time is conceptual.
Yes, it is.
Like
What, Larry?
a cell can reproduce only so many times, and then it stops functioning. So it's not really time, but it's just a matter of
biology.
Biology. It only has so many, and they really, I forget what the number is, but it's a specific number of times the cell can reproduce, can divide, and then that's it.
Oh, and then you could say the exposure to the sun is what causes aging. And then somebody else could say, yeah, but it's the amount of sun that you have, like how long you've been there, and there's time again, right? But maybe not. Maybe it's just like how many times a cell can reproduce. Maybe there's X number of rays that we receive, and with every number, there's a new line that gets formed, or a new sagging that gets formed, or something. I don't want to get too heavy into that part. What we really want to get here is a concept. It is completely made up, and it's a made up tool that we use. But for the function of what we're up to, for the breakthrough that we want, I would like for you to consider, because it's conceptual, I want you to consider time is a feeling.
Is a feeling?
Okay.
It's a feeling. If I'm in a really good mood and I'm having a really wonderful day and I'm doing things that are really awesome to me, time disappears.
Oh, yes.
It feels like there's no time.
Right.
Raphael and I were doing something. I don't know where we were. You know what, Larry? It was when we were with you. Remember when we were with you up in Oakland?
Yeah.
And Raphael and I are on our way home.
Yeah.
Did we all come home together?
Yeah, we came home together. Yeah, it was amazing.
I don't know if he said this while you were in the car or if he said it to me later. But he said to me, we got home, you guys, I think we got home at 11 o'clock, okay? Now we went out to party. We got dressed up. It was a Burning Man event. And we had a great time, but we were home by 11. We were in bed by midnight. And Raphael said, gosh, it seemed like just hours and hours of fun, the time, but there was no time. We just had such a good time. There was no time. So could we get to a place where we could get that time is a feeling? And however we feel about time dictates our experience, or however we're feeling dictates time. Like they're interconnected.
I can see that.
Thomas,
Yeah.
what I'm hearing in that is how that correlates to life unfolding.
Right. It's definitely, because if you're in the practice of honoring life unfolding, you really do get yourself in. All of the work points to like being in the moment, and when you exist in the moment, time really does change.
Yes. Now, could we, Robert? Could we get away from saying being in the moment?
To say being outside of the feeling of time.
Well, you could say that, but what if we stay inside of the clear distinctions that we have, and we simply say this, or we say, if I'm distinguishing the timeline life versus the right now life, there's a quantum shift.
Correct.
And then somebody will say, well, that's just being in the moment. No, you are being in the moment. But how do you feel about that? See, if you're playing on the game board called the timeline life, that's going to be a whole different experience than you being in the right now life playing the timeline game. See, before you guys came on, one of the things that we distinguished was perhaps the timeline life is a game board, and the limit itself is the piece on the board, and the quantum self is that which is playing the game. And that timeline or that small self, that limited self, will die, whereas the quantum self does not.
Yeah, right.
So, go ahead.
I really like that, Thomas, but I think, and the emphasis on that statement you said where you said, how did you say it? It was right before you said it's how you feel about time.
Yeah.
Or does time give you the feeling? You did like a little metaphor, like the opposite. Do you remember that, or did you?
I don't remember it, and I'm thankful that we've recorded it, because there's a few things that came up tonight that I want to go back to.
Yeah, that was really, I think that is where I got the biggest punch, because where we're going is we're saying your antenna, your barometer is how you feel. And so that can alter.
So how, if you really think closely, like listen closely, we're starting the day with people getting in touch with their feeling habit. We're going to end the day with time is a feeling, and time is a feeling is a habit.
That's great, because one of the things that I got when I'm feeling like life is feeling great, that is a feeling habit. And so it's like if I can call at will the feeling habit, and which is actually what the heart,
yes,
same thing. You are actually training yourself to be able to access that and call up a feeling habit. And that's kind of the same thing. You could change your feeling about time. Because it feels like pressure, it feels like aging, it feels like a race.
You're really just changing your habit, because for everybody, time can feel like a pressure, a burden, and time can feel like not enough. All those things are universal, but we are habitual in the one we fool around with the most.
Right.
So maybe, and I don't know this yet, but I think as I continue to pick around at it, I'm thinking that by the end of the day, there's going to be a brand new relationship to time, which, Robert, might change what we say people are going to get out of the quantum shift. You will leave with a whole new relationship to time. What do y'all think about that?
That'd be powerful. I love it.
Rasha?
I'm that's how I feel.
Okay, good.
It's powerful, so I'm just being with it to see what comes up.
One of the things that I've looked at is like, I have changed my relationship to feeling habit.
Yeah. Tell me about that.
Well, as I was doing this work, feeling habit would be like nothing ever works out for me. So that's a feeling habit. But see, that becomes something to be aware of. And what I've started to become aware of while doing the work is I have other feeling habits. Like when I'm writing music, that actually is a feeling habit. I know that. And I actually know how to access that. But just like the feeling habit of like nothing ever works out for me, it's just that I never had a language for it. So it was just a feeling, and that led to emotions. So the feeling habit really becomes a distinction, and why can't I have distinctions about a feeling habit about being present and outside of my timeline?
Now say that a different way. Just say that last part a different way so that you're not talking about being present. And by the way, everybody, it's not like I got something going on about being present. I don't have anything going on about it. But what I'm saying is we want to cause something that's beyond what these people have already generated for themselves.
Right.
And there's nobody in the room who hasn't generated being present. And being present seems like the answer to everything.
And you said something earlier when we first started. We would talk about being present, and there was another term. Well, it got language different.
Well, there was the right now life.
Yeah.
But I think, and by the way, I don't have an answer necessarily, but I do think that if we use this whole game board thing, so the timeline life has a game board on which the limited self plays, but the experience is by the quantum self. So the quantum self has a piece on the board.
Yeah.
Now, if you're in the game as the piece, that's one time. But if your experience is the quantum self playing the game, that's a whole different experience.
Yes, it is.
And one might say it is more present. But I'd really like for you, between tonight and tomorrow, because you and I will talk again tomorrow anyway, to see if you can let your brain spark some new way to distinguish what we're distinguishing so it doesn't take us back, but takes us forward.
Yeah.
So, Thomas, I really like that you're trying to move away from this language called, being present. It's like, it's a overused word in general. But I also don't want to complicate it with the timeline, life, and real life. And I like where you went about the simplicity of what's your feeling about time. I mean, I can access that immediately, right? We all could respond to that question. May have taken us like a few seconds, but we got there. And they were all very strong statements, right? All the feelings that came up were pretty strong. So I think you're going to get people there very quickly.
But what can we get them? Like, for instance, if people are allowed to get present, then they're going to go back to a previous experience that they've already had.
Right.
How do we get them to go beyond that? Like, I get what you're saying as far as complicating it. Yeah. Like.
So where you want to.
Yeah. Sorry.
Where you want to take them is. Finish that.
Where I want to take them is to this space that we're calling the quantum life. And the quantum life, it is a right now life. It is. And it is being present, but it's more than that. It is a shift in your experience to time. What if you...
What?
Yeah.
But in the metaphor, when Robert said, because he said when I'm playing music, and where I went is two places: when I am practicing yoga, when I'm meditating, and when I'm in these types of conversations.
Yes. What do you call
so
that?
there.
What do you call that?
So I think
there's a name for that. Robert, there's a name for that. It's not just I'm playing music.
No, right. I mean, the thing that the first word I got was,
creative.
Yes.
I'm engaged.
When I'm creative,
Mm-hmm.
creativity leads to engagement. Engagement leads to the disappearance of time.
How I'm hearing that is I'm in the flow.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. And you would be in the flow, right? Creativity leads to engagement. Engagement leads to the disappearance of time. And as Charlie said, I'm in the flow. Now, what do I have to generate for that? I've got to generate creativity, because let me tell you something. We are fundamentally lazy about being creative, even though creativity is the access to health. It's the access to everything. That's why.
So can I share something about that? Because this has been interestingly a place of inquiry for me.
Yeah.
This week. Because I had my coaching call with Susie, and this is where we got to the same place we are right now.
Oh, okay.
And it's in this creativity, there's a timelessness that shows up. So we were looking at, like, how do we generate that? And she said, some of the things that she said were so simple and profound, because I found myself, I'm like, it's the same for me. She's like, so when that voice comes up of, I can't, or whatever, I've been telling myself things like, okay, can we talk about that later? Or she said, well, I have fear come up. I'm going to be like, I'm going to take a warm shower. So I found that, like, in self-soothing, kind of in a self-soothing world where it's quieting down is the senses. It's like, which is the meditations we've been doing, right? What are you hearing?
Well,
what are you seeing?
I hear
there is
a couple things. I hear the parts too.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
I hear
It's a quieting down of the judgments.
Well, and all the, so what's showing up for me, because I've kind of been playing with all the meditations this last week. Like, I didn't just stick to one. I kind of went up and down through them. And I had noise about creativity. Like, that it takes something. I made it mean that I have to, it's kind of like enlightenment. I had to be at a certain way of being or a certain elevation of my human whatever in order to be creative. Versus...
Now, the thing, we keep coming back to the thing of, like, dealing with the weight of language. Because that's a languaging issue. Because you hear creativity, and that gives you a picture of what that means.
But it also points to a belief.
It does. I mean, one of the things I'm just going to throw out here is, like, I don't know, it's coming up in August, is this training, and is this another rabbit hole to go down? I mean, this is a deep, I don't know, it's like a whole other deal to look at. It's a concern.
Oh, a concern. Okay.
Well, just because it's coming up. I mean, so it's like, it's this thing where it can keep expanding out into so many different areas. And at what we've talked about this before. At one point you go, not that rabbit hole.
Right. As this group, we want to entertain every little rabbit hole we find.
Yeah.
When Saturday comes, when the workshop actually comes, we, the group of us, have already decided which hole we're going to go down.
Yeah. Just a thought that came up. The other thing that comes up for me is maybe the way to look at it is that the quantum self is another feeling habit.
Okay, yeah, you're right. So we're not going down that rabbit hole.
Because when I'm actually using all the tools of quantum self, it does have a certain feel to it.
It does. And what I found is in the beginning, so when you first tap into it, it feels really good. But after you're there a short period of time, it feels really bland. And if you're not careful, you'll jump out instead of waiting to see what comes on the other side. So I jumped out, realized I jumped out, and jumped back in. And now the other side is starting to open up.
Oh.
And that is what I want to give them by the end of Saturday.
This brings up an analogy that, as an improviser, when I'm improvising with a group of people, we go up on stage, there's nothing. There's absolutely nothing. Right? Now, when I'm in the moment of it, I can tell when I leave it.
Oh.
And I can tell how to step back into it. And it'll be a thought like, if I have there's like red flags, how do I look? How am I doing? Are people noticing me? Things like that. Then I go, you're not playing. And it's like, you got to get back and listen. And then I can get back into the realm of it, right?
Yeah.
It really is just like that. It's like it's like when I'm in, I know I'm in. And when I'm out, I can feel I just went out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you wanted to, you could bring all that back down to the conversation for integrity. You feel it because in those moments, integrity's out and you know it and you put it back in.
That's absolutely right.
Thomas?
Yeah.
So you were talking about being in what, quantum? Recreate that for me again. You're being in
Can you say that?
Quantum self. Quantum life.
Say the whole sentence again because
quantum life and it getting bland.
Oh, yeah. So you want me to recreate that?
So I got it. But what I'm hearing in there, I mean, that's an aspect of being open-hearted.
Oh.
Just letting it unfold, letting it unfold, letting it unfold.
Yeah. So when I jumped out, that would be an integrity issue against the game called the quantum self game or the quantum life game.
Yes.
I felt it, put the integrity back in. And now there's something available that wasn't available before. In fact, that I was afraid, like, oh my God, this is going in a direction of, it feels good for a minute, then it doesn't feel good anymore. So Rasha, thank goodness for the 3 webinars, because the webinars
Yeah.
get people beyond that.
Yep. So, and Larry, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Bhagavad Gita or not, because there's some of this concept of like the thought and the chit. So it's like thought is what you're talking about. I hear almost Thomas and Robert when it's pure awareness. So there is this like forever silence, but it's pure awareness. And then chit is action, or it's what then we would call manifest, or flesh and blood and the noise and all that. It's creativity. It is but it's now we're trying to meld the two. We're saying, how can you retain that awareness, which gives you the access to the creativity?
Right.
Mm.
Or said another possible way is, oh, now listen, you guys, I'm going to say this a little bit sloppy, but hear me out and see if you can get what I'm trying to convey. Or maybe what we start to notice is the drive we've had to be that instead of this. And we give up that drive. Like that's what actually we let go of. And then we start dancing with being this and that. This being small, the limited self, and this being the greater self. Follow?
Mm-hmm.
I love that. I love it.
Yeah, and I think so. That's another thing, Robert. If you put in existence, so they're going to leave with a new relationship to time. And what did I just distinguish, you guys? And you're going to, what's a way of saying you're going to dance in both realities? But I don't know how you would say that.
The way you said it is perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I said too much to make a bullet point.
So how about dancing in both realities and put between brackets like small self and higher self? Will that remind you?
That'll give me an opening to come up with a statement, because now I think these need to be included in the promises. Maybe.
I've heard you say before to be, was it effective or powerful in both domains?
Domains, yeah. So maybe we say it that way. You will leave being powerful in both. You can't say both domains because that doesn't speak to everybody, but both.
I don't know, after you go through the whole thing and you're in the realm of like lesser self, greater self, and you start to take apart the idea that they both exist, and you start to take apart the language of like one is better than the other.
Right.
Yeah, maybe
that's what gets us out. That's all there is.
Go ahead, Rasha.
I think that's the key part, what Robert just said, because it's just so, yeah.
We should say that. Write that up, Robert, any way you want. I mean, you and I'll tease it out.
I hope it's recorded.
Okay, so now it is recorded. It is recorded.
Good.
Charlie, will you be, and I don't expect you to be, okay, so don't misunderstand my communication, but I want to ask you, will you be in Sacramento next Thursday for the event?
Yes.
You will. Thank you.
What time are we getting
Darren,
out? 10?
Will you be next Thursday in Sacramento? We start at 7. Yeah, it's the same time frame. Usually, lately though, Charlie, I've been getting done by 9:30. Remember, the last couple have been more quick, I think, because the distinctions are now more concise.
Okay.
Larry, will you be at the event Thursday in Sacramento?
I don't know that I can. I've got a lot of stuff going on, and I might have to go back to St. Helena.
Okay.
But I can't commit at this point.
Okay. So, Rasha, you said you'd be there. Robert, will you be there?
I'm looking at calendar right now. I've got nothing down that I can see, so.
All right, so then you'll be there.
Yeah.
Now, guys, we have 1 week, and we have to generate between the 5 of us. Is it 4 of us? The 4 of us, we have to generate 10 new people to be at that event. What by new people, I don't mean that they've never done any transformational work, and I don't even mean they've never done our work. I mean 10 new people that aren't already going to be there. That's what I mean.
All right.
So whatever that looks like for you, I'm just counting on you
Okay.
to invite people, let people know about it. The Heart Shift is an amazing opportunity. In 3 hours' time, there is a shift in your reality of yourself. You walk out of there a different person. Do you all know what you walk out of there in? We'll have to come up how to describe it to other people, but do you know what it is? Can I tell you what it is?
Yeah, tell me what it is.
Well, what we do, if you can imagine how the night goes, like a funnel, we start off with people just getting in the realm of there being anything other than this identity. And if they've already heard a conversation like that, they get reminded of it. That's how it starts. And how it ends up is quantum forgiveness. And people are in the space of what I call the bliss point. That could be another thing we could say that you get out of the Heart Shift. You leave there in the space that we call the bliss point. And that's how you leave there. You leave there forgiven. You leave there actually believing that forgiveness is possible. Now, how long that lasts for you is dependent upon how you keep it in existence. But that's what people leave with from the Heart Shift. That's what we do. Anything to add to that, Rasha or Larry?
I
think people also distinguish what forgiveness, their pictures of forgiveness, right? Like there's the personal versus, I find that as one of the most powerful things in the Heart Shift.
Yeah. Ordinary forgiveness versus quantum forgiveness. But what I heard you say is personal forgiveness. I wonder if we shouldn't change ordinary forgiveness and call it personal forgiveness.
Yeah, that's better.
Yes.
I like that, Rasha. Personal forgiveness. And so we'll stop you. You might have to help me, you guys, because I've been saying it for so long. But we're going to say personal forgiveness instead of saying ordinary forgiveness. That's really great, because I remember when we first created that distinction, Rasha, I remember saying to you, I wish we had a different name. This doesn't feel like the one, but it's going to be a placeholder until we get one. So thanks for getting one. I love it.
ordinary sounds judgmental.
Say it, yeah.
Wow.
Ordinary sounds judgmental versus personal.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm very happy with that. I am very, very happy with that. So the only thing left for me to work out. So Thursday night is in the forefront of our minds. Okay, you guys. I'm gonna.
Yeah.
Remember, I've called a lot of people. I've called on the phone and personally talked to a lot of people. But the people, you have to understand, the people that we attract are also the busiest people on the planet. That's why we have to invite so many in order to get them there. It's not that people don't want to come. It ends up they have so many other options, and other options won. For whatever reason. It was already in existence, or they like that better, whatever their thing is. So, but it's just the nature of the, we're not inviting people who sit at home and watch TV. Okay?
Yeah.
So please, can I count on you guys just to open your mouth and just be the love that you are for it, because it's been such a creative opportunity, and it's generated very subtle shifts in every single one of our lives.
Definitely.
In some of our lives, the subtle shift turned into this like something really major. I know that I personally live a completely different life. Robert, I'm your coach. I know you live a completely different life.
Yeah.
I mean, your life, this moment, in this time, this year, compared to this moment 2 years ago.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
That it's unrecognizable.
Yeah.
And Charlie, you have become, from my view, this is in my view, you have become so in tune with distinctions beyond what you've ever been before. Like your listening is much more clear. and who you were going through your personal crisis was a superhero. Like, anytime it got you down, you were in communication. You didn't crawl in a hole. You didn't pretend like everything was okay. You were straight about it, and you were being transformed about it. And Rasha, you have become laser. When you and I talk now, what used to take 45 minutes, we knock out in 10 minutes, sometimes 15, just because we want to play a while. But you've got to get present to that. Do you see that?
I am seeing that. And I think my work with Susie has really been empowering me.
Of course. And you have to remember, back when you used to coach my clients, I'd be on there with you. And you would either record them or talk to me about them. And now I have so much faith that when you talk to somebody, you're generating the distinctions in the same way that I would, or close enough that you aren't creating a different world. You know what I mean? It's great.
I do.
Yeah, it's very good. So it's just like a matter of trust. And Larry, you just jumped in with us, but I'm telling you, there's something subtly magical about these particular conversations. Subtly magical. Now, every single one of you are amazing and off the hook before you ever did this. So this is like not saying, oh, because you did this, you're so wonderful. No. But we fine-tuned those things that were already ours so that they could get expressed.
Yeah.
That's what we did together.
I would like to say, though, I don't completely follow this work. I find I'm a little confused. I don't understand the distinctions that well. It's amazing how long it's taking me to get it.
You think? Well, what, like, if you were just to pick one distinction, just one, that you would have a question about, which one would it be? Mostly.
Well, I mean, it could be any of them, but it's, even, I really get my feeling habit. Like, I see it all over the place now. It's amazing how much I see, how many times it's showing up.
Yeah.
Time there's an upset, it's always there. It's at the bottom of the upset. It's my upset.
That distinction, that one, Larry, one distinction will have you now connected to all the other distinctions.
Yeah.
So when you listen to, or when you on the heart shift, say Thursday night,
Mm-hmm.
in the past, but now you have your feeling habit in a way you didn't. Now when you hear those distinctions during the heart shift, it will connect in a way that it didn't before, and every distinction will start to come alive.
Yeah. What I notice, though, is I'm not present to the feeling habit until there's something happening that I'm triggered by the feeling. It's like when I'm feeling it, I'm very aware of it.
Right.
But when I'm not, it just doesn't exist. I'm completely unaware of it. I'm not thinking about it unless I'm having a conversation with somebody, and a lot of times I do bring that up.
Right. Now that is ideal. You do know that, right? That's ideal.
Yeah.
The ideal is we feel it, we let it go, and we have no conversation about it, which would mean I'm not thinking about it. I'm now being my life. I am being in the game right here, right now, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's ideal. That's what you want to give away. See, because mostly that's not how it is for people. Mostly people are stuck in their feeling habit, and what they don't have the power to do is to notice it and let it go.
Yeah.
You know why? Because they don't see it as a feeling habit. They see it as a reality of their life. And if you see something as a reality of your life, it becomes bigger. But when you make it little, like a feeling habit, you can let it go quicker and easier.
Yeah. I can relate to that completely, because that is my experience. But it's interesting because I actually started having a breakthrough around this 3 or 4 years ago. And I didn't really understand it when it first started happening. And I started
You
saying,
had no distinction for it.
yeah, I started saying no to people where I wouldn't before. I would have just done it because I didn't want to upset them. I didn't want to make them feel bad. But I started shifting around that already. So it's interesting now with this distinction, it's even more powerful because but I'm still, I find it so interesting because I still find myself like when I couldn't get on this call, that's the first thing that came up. It's like that was disappointing everybody.
Well,
So,
now, so
there.
let me correct a misperception that you might have. The misperception you might have is that you reach a point that you no longer are given by your feeling habit. And that's not the case.
Yeah, I don't think that's the case. Yeah.
Yeah, the case is...
I really see that. I see it as it's always there. It's a matter of what I do with it, how I respond to it.
Yes.
Is the difference. That's what
exactly. So when it shows up, you don't have to be surprised anymore. Like, golly, I've been working on this so long. I'm so surprised. No. The thing you practice is, well, how much quicker can I let it go? That's the game. It's not like I never feel that way again. It's how much quicker can I let it go? And
yeah.
Good. Good. Is there
Oh, the camera frozen.
And anybody wants to say to be complete?
I'm getting all the audio on that last probably minute. Half a minute.
Okay. I just said, is there anything that anybody wants to say to be complete?
Yeah, cool fucking call.
It was a great meeting, you guys. Great call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks everybody. It's great.
And Larry and Rasha, thank you for working out whatever you needed to work out to be here when you got here. I really appreciate that you made the effort. Okay? All right, good night.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you, Thomas.
Thank
Good night,
you.
everyone.